When you pay people, there comes sometimes a further expense to that. Let's dive into that. Diggs' extension pays him $26 million per year in the new money, the fourth highest average annual for a wide receiver. How difficult is it to this point, a team to win a Super Bowl while paying that much money to a wide receiver? Since 2016, you see it there. The only team to win the Super Bowl while paying a wideout a top 5 salary was the 2019 Chiefs, who had the benefit at that time of Patrick Mahomes being on his rookie contract. So, Dan, can you win and pay a wide receiver big money?
The Buffalo Bills will be the fascinating case study. Yeah. You know, it's really going to be were the Green Bay Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs the ones who are right, or the Buffalo Bills? Because we've seen the Packers and the Chiefs not pay those guys, Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill, those huge contracts, and the Buffalo Bills have chosen to. Just because it hasn't happened doesn't mean it won't. I think for General Manager Brandon Beane, who's had a phenomenal offseason, I see it two ways. Number one, he understands that he has a great quarterback.
Yep.
His quarterback is in part great because of the receiver that he gets to play with. So you have to trust that those guys are going to continue to play at that level. You also have to trust yourself. You have to trust your front office that you understand you got to be really good in your bargain shopping. You got to be really good in your development of your players. You got to be really good drafting because you are aware the amount of money you have really given to two offensive players. It's not like one offense and one defense. It's two offensive guys. You better be really good at all the other areas that have to be kind of squeezed because of those costs.
Hey, listen, the costs are never going to offset. Now that wide receivers are getting paid what we were used to see with quarterback monies means that other teams are going to have to do it too. We've seen the Las Vegas Raiders do it. We've seen the Miami Dolphins do it. Guess what? Justin Jefferson's going to be due here a deal in a little bit. And so we're going to start seeing some of these guys get paid, Deebo Samuel. And so this will become more of the norm of the league than the outlier or than the anomaly. But I do believe that the Buffalo Bills are going to be the best case study, as Dan said, because this is a team that was already on the cusp. Not only do they pay Stefon Diggs, but they give Von Miller a deal that many people were surprised about. But that's because this team is all in. And I think the other thing it shows is you trade for Stefon Diggs a couple of years ago. He comes in and immediately produces probably over what you were expecting.
Yeah.
He deserves to get paid. And so as he watched Tyreek Hill get paid, he watches Devontae Adams get paid. If you're going to do the right thing in Buffalo, it's to give him this deal. And I believe they'll be rewarded with great play on the grass.
RC, you brought up the names Justin Jefferson and Deebo Samuel. I would say this. What about Cooper Kupp out there?
Yeah.
What about the other wide receivers who were drafted in the second round who have 1 year left on their deal? That being A.J. Brown, Terry McLaurin, D.K. Metcalf, Deebo Samuel. There are receivers out there with what they're scheduled to make this year, $3-4 million. Why would you step on the football field right now when there are wide receivers being paid in excess of $20 million a year unless you had a new contract? So in my mind, these teams are going to wind up having to pay them, these wide receivers, or they're going to wind up having to trade them. And that's a decision that every team is going to have to make this offseason, because my belief would be when you look at the numbers going around, it doesn't make financial sense for the wide receivers who are out there on the last year of their deals on low numbers to lay 1 foot on the football field until you have the type of contract that's going around to these wide receivers across the league.
Yeah, Schefter, to your point, there's now 9 wide receivers in the NFL who are making upwards of $20 million per year. You mentioned the potential of trading those guys. I think you're going to look at some of those teams that have some of those cheaper rookie quarterbacks and sit there and go, a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, are you going to try to make a move for one of those receivers because you have the financial flexibility with Jalen Hurts to go pay? So are you going to go try to go get an A.J. Brown, who's that big-bodied receiver, because you can afford it? Are you going to go try to get D.K. Metcalf, who's a killer in the red zone, because you can afford it? Because eventually when you choose to pay the quarterback, we're going to see if you can do both quarterback and receiver, given what Buffalo has decided to do with Stefon Diggs.
Right, so the Stefon Diggs situation and his contract extension, the latest of all of this. Dan, I think when you think about everybody wanting everybody to get paid, right, it's a big piece of all of this. But when you're specifically the quarterback, and we know so well the relationship between Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs and how it was cultivated even when they didn't know each other when he came in 2020, how much does it do for you as a quarterback to see your guys get paid?
Oh, it's huge because you know the work that you've put in, you know the performance that you've put in, you also know that you're on the journey together. I mean, if you don't have Stefon Diggs, Josh Allen can go to the Buffalo Bills and say, I can't win you your Super Bowl.
Right.
That's the truth. Now that you've given me him, not only for the now, but as Schefter pointed out with the terms of the contract for the next few years, I'm going to get you one. Like, I'm going to get you at least one. I feel Josh Allen, he has that confidence level. He's always been a confident guy, but he's got the confidence level of going, you've equipped me with everything, and I'm going to produce because I'm that good of a player, and you've given me my star receiver again.
I mean, what we saw Josh Allen do in the AFC Championship was nothing short of phenomenal. The way that Gabriel Davis was absolutely stunning and made so many plays throughout the entire day. But that doesn't happen without Stefon Diggs. You don't get to sit in your office and say to yourself, if you're Sean McDermott, you know, Gabriel Davis played so well, we don't need Stefon Diggs. No, that's because safeties were shaded that way. That's because people had to play too high in order to stop him, which allowed Gabriel Davis to be able to work the middle of the field. And so when you look at who this team is and who Stefon Diggs made them, this was the right deal to make. And we are talking about some of these big deals being given to rookie quarterbacks, right? We have, you know, you had DeAndre Hopkins get that deal out there with Kyler Murray. Then we saw Devontae Adams get his deal, but it's because Derek Carr only makes $25 million a year. We're going to start to see these big-time quarterbacks with big-time receivers get deals because you have to make those dudes happy.
Well, think about this. Stefon Diggs, when he signs this extension with Buffalo, which is now agreed upon, he's still working off the deal that he signed in Minnesota. Buffalo didn't sign him to that big contract. He signed that deal with the Vikings. So this would be the first real big money that Buffalo's paying him. But to bring it all together and to tie it all together, these teams that are out there with these star receivers are now at a crossroads. You can either pay your guy or you can trade your guy, but you're going to have to do one or the other this off season.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.